Stillness and abundance, family. Stillness and abundance. Stillness and abundance. Love and light. Health and wholeness. Love and light. Health and wholeness. The violet flame of love and light. Health and wholeness. I hope everybody feeling good for no reason at all. Operating in the highest magnetic frequency of your higher self, your better self, your God spark, being you like no one else can, because no one else can. I'm glad for this opportunity to be me. This is your host and co-pilot, Sawu the God. As we hear life happen around us, we're going to stay centered, we're going to stay focused, and we're going to keep our attention on our intention. It feels good to be in this space.
Many people are not aware they carry.
It feels good to be in this frequency. And as that interjection said, many people don't know that divine power lies within them, within us, within you. But that's why I am a reminder. And I use phrases and statements and questions as well as answers to provoke the type of thinking that most of us may not do. And if we do it, we only hold the thoughts within ourselves. We don't have many people to share them with. So this is a path form where you get to express what you want to express without judgment. So I thank you all for being here and sharing this space with me in nature, according to nature, as we learn the laws of oneself in accordance with the nature within oneself. Ashe. Allow yourself to move beyond thought and move into frequency, move into energy, move into the place where you have to feel to see as we proceed. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. You are now plugged into cosmic consciousness. Love and light, dog. I was meditating on the principle that we are consciousness. And if we are consciousness, then we also have to look at the fact that consciousness, whatever it is, it holds content. And if it holds content, whatever type of content that it holds becomes character. And whatever type of characteristics it holds defines you, defines me. Now we're still talking about this thing called consciousness. So I pose a question. If you are the content of your consciousness, what's the quality of your content? Content of your life, content of your character. What's the quality? The frequency of love keeps everything anew. I don't know how it has that ability, but when you operating in it, no day is the same. Every day is more refreshing than the next. At least that's what I find in my personal reality today, now. So it's good to be here. I hope y'all find it yourselves good to be in this space. Good to be in the skin that you in. You know, a lot of people not comfortable with the skin they in, that they want to be somebody else. I don't know how to be that. All I ever been is just me, authentically so. That's a good place to be, family. Most of us who can say this year is better than last year, it's probably because one or two things. Either you did a lot of work on your inner self, or you hit the lottery and you just said forget it because the outer world is more better than the inner. But for those of us who can say this year is better than last, I hope it's because you're better this year than you were last year. Walk with me. If you can say this year is better than last year, I hope it's because you're better this year than you were last year. Freedom has its own responsibility. And if you really observe freedom in the personal sense, whatever it means to you, you may find that you're not free at all, depending on what you equate to having freedom. I observe many of us, as I observe myself, get caught in the illusion of being how we think others view us, instead of being what is, what you are. So I wonder what's behind the fear that would prompt one to do that. What's behind the fear that will prompt us to try to be anything other than what we are, who we are. I also accept that many of us don't believe in the things they say they do. Because if you ask them a question, they can't define they can't define or explain their conviction behind the thing that they say they believe. Try it. Ask people questions about the things that come from them and watch what you find out about them. Standing on faulty foundations, if anything at all. Is there order in your life? Every day I wake up, I have to see, is there order in my life? Because if there's not order within me, there ain't gonna be no order in my life. So it's not a thing that I have to ask myself. It's something that I have permeated in me, that I inherently know upon rising what I have to do. So order is in my life from the time that I rise. But is there order in your life? And if you answer yes when I asked it the first time, you probably want to reconsider based on the things that I said after. But the reason I ask that, is there order in our lives? Because we can't answer that question for ourselves. Order has its own order, and order has its way of showing if there's order in your life. Now, we may be the last ones to recognize and realize what I'm talking about in the space that it's coming from as pertaining to our everyday physical manifestation. But if you ask yourself, is there order in your life, and then look at your life from the inside out, it'll show you everywhere that order is not, in case you don't realize it already. And if there's order in your life, then your soul has nothing to soul check you about through the operation of spirit, through the operation of thought, through the operation of ideas, or through the operation of interaction. Manifestation and the outer is the consequence of everything we think internal. Whether you connect the dots to it or not. Consciousness doesn't care. Consciousness has been doing what consciousness has been doing before we came here in these bodies, to be aware of the consciousness that we carry. Walk with me. Somebody will catch you. So what are you attempting to do with this thing that you call your life? These are questions that we got to ask ourselves. These are uncomfortable questions that we need to ask ourselves. You know, and we can't have uncomfortable conversations with ourselves. You know we can't have uncomfortable conversations with others. So a lot of people walk around and living in masks and don't make that the real person. Living behind a false identity and don't make that the real person. Living behind a characteristic of disguise. Probably based on somebody else's life. And don't make that the real person. But you have seers out here. We see it all. We hear it all. And it's something that'll make you think they know it all. When you sit around and listen to the wisdom that pours forth, you know, from their being. It's people who don't did everything that we think we trying to do. So the best thing to do is buckle up and get real with you. Like I got real with me and got real with life. Matter of fact, speaking of buckle up, I hope everybody enjoyed the energy from the buck full moon last night. You know, it was beautiful, and the energy was even more beautiful because I'm more in vibrations and frequency, so I care most about what's going on internally, what's going on in the feeling realms, you know, than what I'm able to, you know, pierce my eyes upon to see. In gossip, if you listen, if you listen in your movement, you'll hear a lot of gossip. So in gossip, if you repeat what has been said, it becomes a lie. If y'all don't know what I mean by that, I'm gonna give you an analogy. You know how you hear one thing, and then somebody, you know, Jane told Sue, then Sue told John, and John tell Mark, and by the time it get back to Daryl, ain't none of it right. So I said, if you repeat what has been said, it becomes a lie. But if you see it for yourself, you hear it, you see the difference. If you hear it for yourself, see how close it is? My point is this, family. Truth is not in the distance. It's always close. If perception of a lie in yourself is the truth, then the only propaganda is you. The only conspiracy is you. I'm gonna say it again. If perception of a lie in yourself has become the truth, then the only conspiracy is you. We gotta be able to look at ourselves with clear eyes and be honest about what we see. Go within and really, truly look around. Dig up stuff. Confront it, face it, handle it, and put it back in its place. Know what's going on inside of you. Who you are from the inside out. Not based on what happens from the inside out. You know, we are all gods. We are all goddesses. It's time that we act like it. It's time that we move from that space in our being, in our speech, in our deeds. To go into self is to go beyond all of this. I'm gonna say it again. To go into self is to go beyond all of this. stillness and abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Feel good for no reason at all. Remain true to your authentic self. It's out with God, authentically me. Peace.